Joining me live now is Rakesh Makhija. He's a social activist and a family friend of the deceased boy. Also joining me, Dr. Deepak Raheja is Director and Chief Psychiatrist at Hope Care India. Amod Kant, former Prayas NGO and former Chairman of the DCPCR, Delhi Commission for the Protection of Child Rights. Dr. Jyoti Gupta is Director of the Sri Ram Universal School in Ghaziabad. Thank you all of you for being with me. राकेश जी, मैं आपसे शुरू करूंगा. ये क्या हुआ था? हमने अभी ये इंस्टाग्राम में जो कॉन्वर्सेशन था, हम पढ़ रहे हैं वो टेक्स्ट मैसेजेस जो ये लड़का था जो नयन को मारा है, वो चैट कर रहा है. वो बोल रहा है कि नयन ने बोला कि तुम कौन हो, क्या कर लोगे, तो मैंने चाकू से मार दिया उसको. क्या हुआ था राकेश जी?
ये एक स्कूल की घटना है. 7 डे स्कूल जो खोखरा विस्तार में अहमदाबाद में है. यह एक स्कूल में दो बच्चों के बीच में छोटी मोटी बात जो अक्सर होती रहती है
जी,
उसके तहत ये जो विकृत मानसिकता, असामाजिक मानसिकता के तत्व के बच्चे ने इस बच्चे को चाकू से मार दिया. उसको ये पता नहीं था कि वो कितना गंभीर गुनाह कर रहा है. अभी क्यों हुआ है, कैसे हुआ है, इसमें कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल भी उतना ही आरोपी है कि जितना ये बच्चा आरोपी है. ये जुवेनाइल अपने कह रहे हैं, लेकिन ये जुवेनाइल एक्ट के तहत इस केस को नहीं लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि जिस तरह से ये इस चैट में कन्वेंशन कर रहा है, कन्फेस कर रहा है कि हाँ मैंने किया है, छोड़ो अब इसको. तो जुवेनाइल इस तरह की बातें नहीं करते हैं. जिस उम्र में एक लड़की को या बच्चे को सब्जी काटने का चाकू चलाना नहीं आता है, उस एज में वो किसी बच्चे को चाकू चला के और मार देने का प्रयास करता है और उसकी हत्या कर देता है, तो इस विषय को जुवेनाइल एक्ट की तरह नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए. कहीं ना कहीं एक पुख्त वय का जिस तरह से एक्ट होता है उसी तरह से इसको देखना चाहिए.
नहीं राकेश जी, इस घटना के पीछे कुछ और भी डिटेल था? क्योंकि जैसे आपने
नहीं, कोई वजह नहीं है इसमें, कोई पर्टिकुलर कोई ठोस वजह नहीं है.
क्योंकि जैसे आपने बताया कि आपसी झगड़े होते हैं स्कूल में, लड़के ऐसे बात करते हैं, ऐसे छोटी मोटी बातें होते हैं स्कूल में, लेकिन किसी को एक चाकू लेकर आना, किसी को धमकाना और उसको मार डालना, वो तो बहुत अलग चीज है.
यह एक कहीं ना कहीं पारिवारिक असामाजिक मानसिकता दिखा रहा है. कहीं ना कहीं उसका बैकग्राउंड इस तरह से आता होगा और कहीं ना कहीं उसके आसपास का माहौल ऐसा होगा जो ये दर्शाता है कि कहीं भी किसी को भी मार देना. और दूसरी एक मैं आपको महत्व की बात कहूंगा कि स्कूल इसमें सबसे बड़ा आरोपी हो सकता है, क्योंकि स्कूल में इस तरह के वाकये पहले भी हुए हैं. स्कूल में हथियार लेके आना, बच्चों के सामने कहीं ना कहीं कंप्लेन करना, लेकिन स्कूल के द्वारा कोई एक्शन नहीं लेना. इसके पहले भी काफी सारी कंप्लेनें पेरेंट्स ने की हुई है और दूसरे बच्चों ने की हुई है कि और काफी बच्चे भी इसमें हथियार लेके आते हैं, असामाजिक बातें होती हैं, मल्टीपल उसके अंदर वायलेंस होते हैं, लेकिन स्कूल प्रशासन जो है उसमें प्रॉपरली एक्शन नहीं लेता. तो क्या बच्चों को हम इस तरह से असामाजिक बनाकर और देश को देना चाहते हैं? इसमें कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल की पूरी ट्रस्ट और स्कूल का मैनेजमेंट भी जिम्मेदार है. दूसरी बात,
नहीं,
बच्चे से घटना जहां पर हुई, स्कूल में बच्चा आया है, स्कूल में पेट पकड़कर बच्चा बैठा है. स्कूल ने इतनी तसदी तक नहीं ली है कि बच्चे को एम्बुलेंस बुलाकर उसको प्रॉपरली मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट दिलाई जाए. उसके अलावा बच्चा काफी समय तक वहां बैठा है, उसके पेरेंट्स आते हैं, वो उसको ऑटो में लेके जाते हैं. क्या स्कूल के अंदर कोई व्हीकल नहीं था? क्या स्कूल को पता नहीं था कि इस तरह की घटना हुई है? कितना मेजर बात हुई है? और वहां पे जो सिक्योरिटी होती है, टीचर्स होते हैं, कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया गया. और तो और जो ब्लड के डॉट्स वहां पे गिरे हैं, जो ब्लड के वहां पे सबूत गिरे हैं, उसको हटाने के प्रयास किए गए हैं. ये भी एक स्कूल का गंभीर आरोप है, स्कूल के ऊपर गंभीर आरोप है समाज का. ये कहीं ना कहीं स्कूल भी इसके अंदर उतना ही आरोपी है.
मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूं आपकी बात से राकेश जी, हमारे साथ बने रहिए। डॉक्टर दीपक रहेजा, आर वी मिसिंग समथिंग सर? इज देयर समथिंग वी आर नॉट सीइंग इन व्हाट हैज हैपेंड? Because the chat seems so chillingly casual. The circumstances under which the crime took place seem so, it's a normal schoolyard kind of fight between two boys. What are you making of it, sir?
Sir, it is very easy to either blame the school or the family and the parents. But what we are really missing here is that as impulsive as these incidents and episodes may sound and look, they have a lot of history in hindsight. So if we go back now and do a retrospective analysis, we'll find that there would be many cues that this boy would have exhibited, because he clearly, somebody used the word vikrit mansikta. It is definitely a unstable mind. It is a very chalant way in which he is talking and expressing, and he is just being callous, which is equivalent to being sociopathic. But we are dealing with a minor, a juvenile, and he's going to be tried according to the Juvenile Act. But please do know that there is somewhere normalization of violence in this boy's head. And this has not happened suddenly. It is not one off. There would be many incidences that you will be able to pick up both at school and at home. But we choose to be oblivious. We choose to not act as diligently as we do. Mental health interventions are not solicited. We don't really bring it to the knowledge of the authorities. We are an empathetic culture, but that empathy should not translate into a volcanic explosion that you'd see in a situation like this. So this is a very one-off. This is not something that we need to be worried and scared that there's going to be like shootouts and violence and stabbing in our schools, and we need to be worried about sending our children to school. But I think it is very important for schools and homes to screen, to be privy, to be perceptive, and do not neglect these signs that emerge and that are visible both to the authorities, to the school, and to the parents.
Let's get a perspective from an educator who is in charge of many schools. Dr. Jyoti Gupta is also with us. She's director of the Sri Ram Universal School. Dr. Gupta, what is your perspective on this? Your work involves monitoring teenagers round the clock, round the year, all the time for this kind of thing, for disturbing behavior. This is alarming. What are you making of it, ma'am?
Absolutely, it's very alarming, and I do agree with Dr. Raheja that this is not the beginning, and there would be many such incidents in the school, and we can make it out from the conversation also, where they are saying mal data. That means violence in the school is taken for granted. So if there is something happening in the school, then it's okay for the children to fight. It is okay for the children to bully each other. It's okay for the children to beat each other up. Now, they don't realize that when they are getting physical there, they are having physical violence there. Where are they going to hit the child? Here, he's deliberately murdered the child. But there are incidents where they push each other, or they they fight in a way that another child gets hurt in a way that there is disability caused for the entire life, or maybe something else also happens. So the code of conduct is changing. For years, we have said spare the rod and spoil the child. But there have been acts that do not pressurize the children, do not give them corporal punishments. The teachers can't say anything, because if the teachers say something, then it is, why are you pressurizing the children?
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you suspend the children, the parents come back the next day and they say, why are you pressurizing the child so much? The child might do something. Will you be responsible for that? So everybody, the children hide behind the parents hide behind the children. They are not just ready to accept that there is a problem. The children are not being socially engaged at all. It is between the device and them. They are watching the violent games. Look at the collaborative games that they all are playing. The only thing that is there in the games is the swords and the guns and the cars and the speed and everything. Look at the content that the children are watching. It's on there. Every child has a device today. The parents are not at home. The parents are not even tech savvy. They don't even know what sites are the children going to. I can challenge that the households do not have the firewalls. Every child is given a device. The parents are not able to manage the children at home. They are not able to say no to them. The schools do not allow the devices, but then does the engagement get over with
This
the
is
school?
true. This is true. I want to understand the scale of the problem. Mr. Amod Khan, is this just a one-off kind of thing? Every once in a while you'll see a kind of violent crime like that, like what happened in Ahmedabad, or the statistics tell a different story, which is half of all juvenile arrests currently are for violent crimes of this kind. What is your understanding, sir, from this case as well?
I have very carefully heard Rakesh, Deepak and Jyoti, and then I'm getting into the problems as you want it. See, the problem of juvenile crimes is not so vast as we seem to think. The total number of crimes committed by juveniles, I mean, they are not called juveniles under the Juvenile Justice Act. They are called children in conflict with law. That's the legal term. Nearly 35,000 crimes are committed annually. Okay. Those figures that you have shown, maybe a little rise up and down is there. And out of these 35,000 cases, as you mentioned correctly, the serious crimes, that means it is defined a crime carrying punishment more than 7 years. They are designated heinous crimes. 3 to 7 years, serious crimes. And less than 3 years, they are petty crimes. All right. Now, nearly half, as you said, it's actually less than half, nearly 35 to 40% crimes happen to be serious crimes, murder being the most serious among them. Now, this is what the situation is. Now, this particular case, one or two points I'm going to. First of all, I had no idea as to what was the age of the child. Anything you are aware about the age of the child? What was his age? The child who committed the crime? Sorry?
Class 9. Class
No,
9.
Age of the child.
The killer was in class 8.
Killer, the accused age was how much?
The accused is in class 8 and the deceased is in class 10.
No. Class 8. I
13
want
years.
to know the age of the child.
13 years.
Class 8, 13, 14 years old, sir.
Oh, that's the problem. Now comes the problem. I'm sorry, I was unaware. As you know, that after Nirbhaya case, that is 2013, 2012-13, there was a big kind of uproar
juveniles.
about bringing the accused into the fold of adult law. And I appeared in the Supreme Court of India and I tried to defend the situation where children should not be, the age should not be changed. And as you know that through my organizational prayers, we deal with thousands of them. Nearly 26,000 children, the juveniles we have dealt with in a particular home of Delhi. So we are fully aware of the problems. Now the issue is the law changed. According to the new law, the change in the law in 2015, what happened that if a child commits a heinous crime, and the child happens to be in the age group of 16 to 18 years, the child can be taken to a system where the child can be treated like an adult. It is not actually being treated adult. What happens really, I'm just giving details. The Juvenile Justice Committee is supposed to conduct a preliminary inquiry. If in that preliminary inquiry they find that the child has the mental capability or physical capability or maturity to commit such a crime, this case can be transferred to the Children's Court or the Sessions Court as we call it. And then Children's Court also takes a call and finds out whether there is a need to deal with the child in the criminal justice system. I mean, besides juvenile justice system. So this case has a problem again because the child is less than 16 years of age. This child actually cannot be dealt with except in juvenile justice system. And the child has to be dealt with only by Juvenile Justice Board. There is no other way. And there the maximum punishment is only 3 years, as you know. So now the issue is that a crime being committed by a child of his age, it's very, very serious, extremely serious. According to even someone like me, worked in police, worked in Prayas and all over for these decades, I find this particular case, why really you have correctly called it, it's a chilling confession he is making. And the way his use of the social media, the way he is using it is definitely that really discloses his immaturity.
No, that is what is scary about this, Dr. Gupta. Since you deal
No,
with
nobody will do. Just let me finish this part.
Yes.
Normally, an adult or a person who commits a crime, the crime has got three components. Let it be very clear. Number one is motive, second is intention, third is act. These three things combine and make a crime. Now, so far as this child is concerned, I think he's being so foolish or being so, let's say, immature to come on the social media and make a statement like this, which is foolhardy, will not happen in respect of others. I mean, the adults will perhaps not do it. He partly did it for the reason that his access to social media and unable to understand the consequences of
Clearly.
what he was saying. So that's very important, but then it calls for a much deeper introspection. It calls for, you are absolutely correct, Rakesh is absolutely correct, that the school is definitely has to be held accountable for this, because this kind of thing must be happening there.
No, but I want to get a perspective as a final comment. We're almost out of time. Dr. Gupta, what is the school's failure in this particular case? Would they have not been able to detect something like this? Already the violence was worked into that kind of conversation. Maar kyun dala? That itself is really scary.
Absolutely. The behavior of the children have to be monitored regularly. And this would be something that would be happening or occurring multiple times. So the school should be able to counsel the children. The school should be able to take action against such children, call the parents and tell them to keep the child at home and not send the child to school. Because generally, whenever there are issues like this, the children are dealt with strictly, and if they are not, behaving properly, they are also asked to be sitting at home and not coming to the school.
Yeah.
So this cannot be the first incident. It has to be repetitive in nature. He is so casual. He just doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. He just doesn't know how to communicate. So there has to be a reason for that. So the parents also have to be equally blamed. It's not just the school. Both the school and the parents have failed in the duty. And where is the access to the knife coming from? Do the parents not know that he's carrying the knife? And
right. Okay.
There are supposed to be CCTV cameras in the school. Frisking of the children has to be done. So if the children are, and if we were to believe what Rakesh ji is saying, that means multiple times the weapons are being brought to the school. Now, we heard of the gun culture in the other countries. The parents are not sending the children to school to be killed or to be harmed like this.
I just want to wrap this by saying that this was, not that this makes anything different. Wherever this may have happened, it would have, our worldview of it should be the same. But this was a well-reputed middle-class school in Ahmedabad where this actually took place, where one would expect a greater degree of awareness, monitoring, sensitization, that kind of thing. And yet this still happened over there. It is truly scary. I have a daughter who's 2 years younger than the boy who stabbed one of his classmates. For me, that is what the reality of this is, and it is truly scary. You don't need to be a parent to be shocked by what has happened in Ahmedabad, and the statistics show that it may not really be a one-off. But we'll leave it there. Thank you to all of my guests for giving us their perspective on this truly troubling and upsetting story. We offer our condolences to the parents of the deceased boy as well, and hope for peace in that area and in that school. We'll continue to track that story very closely here on NDTV. And now it's over to Ankit with the last word. Thanks for watching.